Greetings, friends. Last night the Russians barely attacked Ukraine with Shaheds, which is rather unusual. But Russian targets were hit repeatedly by both drones and even missiles. The Russian occupiers in temporarily occupied Donetsk got hit pretty hard, as that's where the missiles landed.
Yeah, they really scorched them.
Of course, there were also massive drone strikes on the territory of so-called Russia itself.
1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, just look at that amazing sight.
And at the same time, Azerbaijan delivered another strike against the Russians, though of a different kind. A retaliatory strike.
The ambassador of Azerbaijan to Russia has been summoned to our foreign ministry in connection with Baku's unfriendly actions and the illegal detention of Russian journalists. This was reported by the diplomatic department.
Relations between Azerbaijan and the so-called Russia are rapidly deteriorating. And for us, for Ukraine, this is of course a good thing. There are also some signs that the attitude of the American administration toward Vladimir Putin is worsening. But more on that later. But first, I urge you to support Ruzoris.
Donate to Ruzoris! Because these birds from Mr. Serhiy are the best we've ever flown on?
All the details, as always, are in the description of this video. Every donation matters, even 1 hryvnia, because small donations add up to great strength. And if for some reason you still haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to do so. Yesterday evening, missile strikes were carried out on the positions of the Russian occupiers in temporarily occupied Donetsk. It was burning beautifully. The missiles pierced the building all the way down to the basement.
There are 2, there are 3. Twokto joined in. Do you need help?
Propagandists immediately arrived at the scene, wanting to film a pitiful story about how they had been bombed for 8 years.
Friends, just imagine. They simply blew it apart with missiles.
But everything was ruined by a Russian soldier who unfortunately didn't die during the strike, but was wounded and crawled out right from the impact site.
Can I help with anything? What should we do?
However, his comrades went to the graduation at the Makivka vocational school. Last night, the temporarily occupied Luhansk was also attacked. Hits were recorded on fuel and energy infrastructure facilities.
The third one, look, do you see it? Yeah, there it is. Same place. Something again. That's over there.
The festival didn't end there, because this morning some unknown, but very extremely kind drones also visited the Russian city of Izevsk.
Oh my god, dear lord. Why not? Oh, whoa!
At this wonderful moment, I have to report what exactly was attacked. The strikes targeted a Russian factory called Kupol, which of course produces military equipment, including the Tor anti-aircraft missile systems.
Rare footage from the workshop where the Tor family of anti-aircraft missile systems are assembled. This is the main special product of the Izevsk electromechanical plant Kupol, and it has been in service with the Russian army for more than 30 years.
Thanks to the Russians, we have objective footage from the scene. We thank them for the illumination. And as a bonus, the strike also hit the factory workers.
I'm at the attacked site. Emergency services are working. Ambulances, psychologists. There are casualties.
And of course that's great, but it's still not enough. We are waiting for the Ukrainian missile program to scale up so that such strikes become more effective. At the same time, as I mentioned before, relations between Azerbaijan and the so-called Russian Federation are rapidly deteriorating. In case you didn't know, I talked about this yesterday. In Yekaterinburg, Russian police detained, tortured and killed Azerbaijanis specifically because of their nationality. Late last night, a plane arrived in Baku carrying the bodies of 2 Azerbaijanis killed by Russians. They were received with modest but proper honors. Azerbaijan has not received any adequate response from the Russian Federation regarding the pogrom carried out by Russian police and has started to strike back. Yesterday, the Russian propaganda outlet Sputnik Azerbaijan was searched and at least 2 people were detained on suspicion of spying for the Russian Federation. Allegedly, they were FSB agents. There is mourning on Russian television.
In Baku, security forces cordoned off the office of the Sputnik Azerbaijan agency. The country's Ministry of Internal Affairs announced that some kind of operation was underway. Editorial staff members, including Russian citizens, are not responding to attempts to contact them.
And when Russians come tortured, including with electric shocks, and killed Azerbaijanis, Propagandists went berserk, rejoiced at this, and demanded even tougher action.
It's late. And this topic is not sufficiently, harshly, and politically emphasized. The Russian police must press them so that blood flows from their eyes.
But when Azerbaijan responded, this very same propagandist suddenly didn't find it so amusing. Now he's sad. Now he wants everything to be fine.
Well, sad, it's depressing. Sad and depressing. What will this lead to? Nothing good. Well, at the very least, to serious economic losses.
The Russians deliberately orchestrated this pogrom. They knew perfectly well what they were doing and what kind of reaction it would provoke, but they still hoped that Azerbaijan wouldn't respond. And now Peskov regrets it and wants everything to be fine again.
And to further develop our good relations with Azerbaijan.
At the same time, Azerbaijani media began to criticize the Russian Federation more actively, mentioning the Russian-Ukrainian war and reminding that any empire can fall apart.
Today, cities and villages in Ukraine have been wiped off the face of the earth. A genocide was committed in Bucha. In short, the empire has collapsed, but its principles live on. But if Kremlin officials think a little more carefully, they will see that it was precisely these principles that destroyed the 70-year-old empire. So be careful that these principles do not destroy Russia as well, which no longer has any friends or allies left in the region.
And now, about friends and allies? Well, not exactly, but still. As you know, the Russians are trying to get closer to the United States of America, but so far they are not meeting the demands of the United States to end the Russian-Ukrainian war. That's why recently, Lindsey Graham, an American senator, said that Congress will soon begin considering secondary sanctions against so-called Russia, because their patience is running out.
I played golf with him. He said, it's time to move forward, to push important projects. If you buy products from Russia and don't help Ukraine, then a 500% tariff will be imposed on your goods imported into the United States. India and China are buying 70% of Putin's oil.
Dmitry Peskov, Vladimir Putin's press secretary, commented on Graham's statement and called him a Russophobe.
The senator's position is well known to us. It is well known to the whole world. He, let's say, belongs to the group of staunch Russophobes. If it were up to him, these sanctions would have been imposed long ago.
Peskov also noted that it is not the so-called Russian Federation, but rather Ukraine that is dragging out the negotiations and does not want peace. And then Keith Kellogg, Trump's special representative, responded to his statement. The reaction was quite harsh. Peskov's latest comments regarding the state of negotiations are a distortion of reality in true Orwellian fashion. Russia's claims that the US and Ukraine are dragging out peace talks are unfounded. We call for an immediate ceasefire and a move to trilateral negotiations to end the war. Russia cannot continue to stall for time while simultaneously bombing civilian targets in Ukraine. Americans will eventually have to have a serious falling out with the Russians because the Russians are mocking them. And frankly, even Peskov himself said there would be no truce, even though that was Trump's own demand.
There's no point in a truce. Right now, we have a strategic advantage. Why should we give it up? We're not going to give it up.
We'll see what comes of it. The main thing is that Trump doesn't give Vladimir Putin another 2 weeks again. Now, let's talk about something very important.
Drones. Drones, it's all about drones there, constantly present.
Together with you, we've been supplying FPV kamikaze drones to the Ukrainian military since 2022, back when it was unpopular, when almost no one knew about FPVs. Thanks to you, our military receives new supplies every single day. Thanks to you, our military has the best tools to get the job done. And I have to say that today we've reached the milestone of 200,000 FPV drones purchased. And that's just an incredibly impressive result. It's impressive not only because a huge number of kamikaze drones have flown straight at the Russians right in their faces or elsewhere, but also because your donations help advance drone technology. This is extremely important. And just in the past day, thanks to you, our soldiers received another 260 new FPV drones.
Wishing you strength and resilience. We, the fighters of the Unmanned Systems Battalion of the 36th Separate Marine Brigade, thank the Stenenko community for providing 40 crossbows and promise that not a single winged enemy will escape us. Together to victory! Glory to Ukraine! Glory to the heroes! Wishing you good health! 79th Brigade! A sincere thank you to the Stenenko Foundation for providing 30 Wild Hornet drones. Together to victory! Glory to Ukraine! On behalf of the 1st Separate Territorial Defense Brigade, named after Ivan Bohun, we would like to sincerely thank Mr. Stenenko and his community for providing us with excellent, high-quality FPV drones to intercept enemy Shaheds. Every donation every high Rivnia brings you closer to victory. So let's donate for the Heavenly Rosscutter. Glory to Ukraine! Thank you to the Stanenko community for providing digital FPV drones, with which we will destroy enemy reconnaissance wings. Together to victory! Glory to Ukraine! Glory to the heroes! Wishing you strong Cossack spirit. On behalf of the fighters of the Samurai Combat Group, the Battalion of Unmanned Systems of the 117th Heavy Mechanized Brigade, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Serhiy Stanenko Foundation, as well as to the Serhiy Stanenko community and Mr. Serhiy himself for another round of assistance in the form of 40 Windfly digital interceptors, some of which have already been sent to combat positions and are carrying out missions there. Donate to Ruzaras, because these birds from Mr. Serhiy are the best we've ever flown. Long live the heavenly Ruzaras! Glory to Ukraine! Wishing you good health. The Rudpat Prime of the 5th Border Detachment sincerely thanks Mr. Stanenko's foundation for providing 10 flip drones, with the help of which we will make the skies over Sumy region clearer. We, the Interceptor Platoon of the 56th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade, thank the Stanenko community and the Red Drone Project for the assistance provided and for supporting us. Wishing you good health. The unit from the Bobra River sincerely thanks the Serhiy Stanenko community for the provided FPV drones, because in these extremely difficult times it is absolutely essential for us to feel your support. And in turn, we will continue to reduce the enemy population on our land. Glory to Ukraine!
Glory to the heroes. I can say without exaggeration that your help is of strategic importance to Ukraine, so please continue to actively support the security and defense forces of Ukraine.